Hello and welcome to the Recursion Cafe, where we play games from the Discord pile. In today's game of Unmatched, we have George on the left and myself on the right. George is playing Sinbad, the old classic from Volume 1. Both Sinbad and the Porter get +1 movement for each voyage in the Discord pile, so they gain experience and they can run around the map to anywhere they want, really, especially this map which is pretty open. On the right, I'm playing Bloody Mary. At the start of my turn, if I have exactly 3 cards in my hand, I gain 1 action, and crucially she has 3 move, which normally would be helpful against a 2-move fighter, but as soon as Sinbad puts a voyage into his discard pile, he will be even, and it will just get worse from there. So we'll see how this goes. Looks like I'll run in after George double maneuvers, and I'll attack with Trick of the Late into Toil and Danger. No damage is done. The Sinbad is able to move, and then I can appear next to him if I so wish. It's a helpful card against ranged fighters, but it's pretty low value and it doesn't always put you where you want to be. Here is a return regroup into a mirror image. Mirror image, normally a pretty potent card, but it really loses stocks fast against Sinbad's voyages because they are all printed 2s, but they get bigger and mirror image does not. So here is a voyage to the city of the King of Serendib into an infinity mirror, no damage done, and George simply draws a card. That's voyage number 1. Got plenty more to come. And so I have 3 cards in hand, and I'm starting next to George, but I have to maneuver first, and I'll maneuver again. And we'll attack with a speak 3 times at full power, so 7 into a 4. Only 3 damage done. I mean, that is one of my biggest hits, and that still only did 3, so that's disheartening, but we'll see if I can keep up the aggression with those extra actions. So here is a maneuver, and a maneuver again. George just ends up next to me, but he has pinned Bloody Mary into that corner. So we'll maneuver, we'll play Close and Ship Ears for that 3rd action. I do like that card a lot, especially in T-Rex as well. It fits perfectly in both. And here is an attack against Sinbad, and it will be a out of the mirror at 3rd action into an exploit. So the ambush style effect will discard a random card from George's hand, and then we both get to draw a card. And it's a Porter card by Fortune and Fate, just more draw for Sinbad. I don't think George is particularly upset about that. It's primarily a fight between me and Sinbad, and the Porter is just kind of there for pinning purposes, I suppose. So here is the return fire from Sinbad. And it's a voyage to the island that was a whale, so Sinbad recovers 2 health, and I will take some damage because, I'll take 1 damage because the voyage is now a 3. And here is a follow-up attack. Will it be another voyage to just keep ramping? No, it's a commanding impact, which I cleverly feint, so that hurt. George doesn't get to draw that card, but I take 3 damage to the face. That's a fair and balanced trade-off. I do start with 3 cards in hand, and again, even though I'm next to Sinbad, I still have to double draw, and I'll attack with the 3rd action. Will it get feinted? Or has George even seen any? It's Ghostly Touch into Toil and Danger. So Ghostly Touch, I could boost it, but I'm pretty low on the card count, and we know Sinbad has a lot of draw. So it was mainly for the health recovery, to be honest. I don't think I boost that, and we just leave it there. Sinbad's pretty healthy at the moment at 14 health, so I don't think it makes too much difference. George will play Riches Beyond Compare to draw even more cards. It is pretty tough playing a hero that likes to have low hand size, but also each card isn't particularly impactful. So here is Voyage to the creature with eyes like coals of fire, that's a mouthful, into a mirror image that I just had to play because that card gets worse the further along we get. And I get a jump scare discarded at random from my hand, which sucks. Not only because it's like a medium value defense, but also it's one of the stronger attacks on Bloody Mary's side. So I will double maneuver 6 spaces away, and George is only at movement 5, so that's funny. But then we both just take some draw turns, and we just leave it there. Sinbad can typically, in the mid game onwards, just engage whenever he wants to. So here's just a quick hand count. I think George is like 6 cards, 7 cards. I'm about 4 or 5. And we'll just continue maneuvering because apparently I've abandoned the 3-action turn, and we're just trying to get more cards in hand for more options. So here's an attack. It is another voyage to the Valley of the Giant Snakes into an evade. So I take a bunch of damage, I draw a card, and then George gets to look at the whole hand, which is less than ideal sequencing, but it's not the worst, I suppose. It looks like we have a couple of double attacks, a feint, broken glass, a speak 3 times, and I think another jump scare. Yeah, there it is. So decent options in hand. There are at least some defenses, but they're not ideal defenses, to be perfectly honest. Now here I attack, and looking back, that was probably a mistake because every attack in that hand basically says don't defend this. and it'll be fine. And so George correctly doesn't defend it, just takes some damage. I get some damage in, I guess, but don't think that was a particularly good move. And then I'll step away. I did have 6 cards, so I suppose I would have gone to 8 if I had double maneuvered, but it's still not ideal. Sinbad walks up and continues the aggression, and it'll be a voyage to the city of the man-eating apes into a broken glass. So that is 2 damage over the 4 value broken glass once it's pumped up, and then 2 damage from the effect. So a lot of damage in all. There may be some voyages off screen which I didn't capture, so apologies for that. But here is some return fire, and it is broken glass the second into leap away, and this time it does trigger. So 2 damage and a card draw for me, which is nice. I mean, Sinbad's now down to 8, I'm down to 7. The health is looking reasonably even, but we know that there are a couple of voyages left that punch very, very hard, and I'm starting to run out of offensive gas, I think. So here we are. There's another attack. It's a voyage, and this time I do feint the correct one. So no effect there, no ability there, and it's just cancelled. And George looks like he has 5 cards in hand. So we will retaliate because we have to try and get some damage in, and it's a double attack, Bloody Requiem, into a Toil and Danger. So pretty decent hit. The Toil and Danger fully blocks it, and Sinbad is able to move away and has to deal with another 3 value attack. But most of Sinbad's versatiles and defenses are pretty solid. I think only versatiles, I don't think he has any defenses. There's another Toil and Danger, so just perfectly blocked. I took a card out of his hand, but again, no damage through, which is a problem. So now Sinbad's fighters converge again, and it's a momentous shift into a jump scare. Me defending with a jump scare is probably quite telling that I didn't have anything else in hand that was worth defending with. So again, more problems. So that's 1 jump scare discarded and 1 used on defense. So that's 2 6s that could have been aimed at Sinbad. Here's a out of the mirror into an exploit. Again, a random discard, and again a by fortune and fate. That is very fortuitous for George. So the value isn't really there, and I get the card draw. But at this point, it's not really what I wanted. So we'll play Close and Ship is to get to the 3rd action and draw a card, which is important. And it is a speed 3 times into a feint. It's pretty telegraphed there, and George is finally drawn into some of his feints towards the bottom of his deck. So that ruins that one. It's only 1 damage through. Sinbad will attack, and it's a regroup into a Trick of the Light. So at least I wasn't totally caught off guard by that. Good bluff by George there. He gets his card draw, and I get to move, but I'm still stuck next to Sinbad, so it's still not ideal. Health totals are 8 to 5. We are both running pretty low in deck and just kind of drawing into more options because I don't think our hands are ideal either for offense or defense. George plays Riches Beyond Compare to draw 3 cards, so either he was really lacking options or he really wants to kind of run in and finish the game. I do fortunately have 3 cards in hand, so I get a 3rd action. I'm not sure that's a boon at this point because I don't know how aggressive I want to be. I play Stolen Memories. I'm not sure how good that is into Sinbad, but I don't really have many other options right now, so we'll have a look at this hand. And it's 2 momentous shifts, a regroup, a voyage home, and a by fortune and fate. And of course, none of them have a boost value higher than 1. So I take a look and I consider, and I just point at voyage home. Like, do you wanna discard that? No, 1 damage. Yeah, sure, fair enough, I guess. So we hand that back. We know the defense is in his hand, but there's only so much we can do about that from where we are with what we've got left in deck and hand. So it's information, but I'm not sure there's too much we can do about it. George points out that he only has 1 card left in deck, so he kind of has to run in and finish this now. And hits a voyage home, to no one's surprise, because both my feints are gone, into an infinity mirror. So I at least block a decent chunk of that, but I still take, I think, 3 or 4 damage over the top. And then George takes his time sorting out which voyages that he wants to bring back to hand and which ones he leaves in the discard pile. So once again, Bloody Mary fires off, and we both know that I have exactly this turn to finish it, because otherwise he plays a single voyage and I do not have a defense that will stop it from dealing 2 damage. So it's broken glass into a momentous shift. I will equalize the value, deal 2 damage, draw a card. I'm hoping to draw into more attacks because I've run into a classic problem of drawing too many blue cards when I don't need them. Here is a Bloody Requiem into a feint. Just the 1 damage over, that's unfortunate on my end. And my third action, which normally would be pretty big in Bloody Mary, but I have to maneuver because it turns out both the remaining cards in my hand were evades. And so George walks up and finishes it with a voyage to the city of the man-eating apes into said evade. The card I drew after that from the evade was a ghostly touch, which I think might have done something. It's a third action attack. But yeah, no, I think the attack power in the deck had simply run out by that point. So well played from George there, kind of methodical, keeping his hand count high when he needed to, and having options in hand. His feints, I think his last feint was at the bottom, and his others were near the bottom as well, so that was unfortunate on his side. But he played it well and carried it through. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will catch you next time.